Hi, welcome back to Living on Slow Time. So today we're going to be making some apple butter. When I posted my applesauce video, I had somebody actually ask me about making apple butter. Really what an apple butter is a very spicy concentrated applesauce. Spicy meaning warm spices, not spicy heat-wise. So we're going to start out with about 6 to 8 cups of apples, and we actually are going to make them just like what we did in the applesauce video. We're just going to put the apples in, we're going to add a little water, we're going to cover those up. Now these are going to cook for about 30 to 40 minutes until the apples get really nice and soft. Then we're going to use our immersion blender and we're going to blend those up and add our spices and cook it down to a nice rich thick sauce to make apple butter. Okay, we're going to give this a look-see here. Quick stir on that pot. I'd say we're pretty much ready. That water has evaporated from there. Let's check that doneness here. Give them a quick stab. Perfectly soft. Shut that heat off and we're going to grab our blender. So we've got our immersion blender here. Now if you've got a regular blender you can use that as well, but just make sure you look at the instructions on how to take care of hot ingredients when you do that, because if you put a lid on all the way on a blender and you're blending hot ingredients, it's going to explode on you. So we're just going to come in here and we're just going to get these all mushed up to an applesauce consistency. So we've got this all nice and smooth. We want it smoother than an applesauce almost, really. But it needs to be just super smooth so that it spreads nicely on your biscuits or on your toast that you decide to use it on. Get a little of that extra off. And let's just show you that consistency, how it's a nice, super smooth applesauce. All right. Now, if you wanted to right there, that could be an applesauce for you, or it could be baby food for you. I'm going to turn this heat back on, but I'm going to turn it down to a kind of a medium-low heat right there. And we're going to start adding all of our other ingredients. So we're going to go ahead and add our brown sugar. Now, depending on the sweetness of your apples, will depend on exactly how much brown sugar you want to use. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put in, I'm going to start, I think I'm going to do 3/4 cup, because it's usually between about 3/4 to a full cup. So I'm going to do 3/4 cup of brown sugar, and then I'm going to do a 1/2 cup of the sugar. Now I tasted one of the apples and mine, they were a little tartar than what I wanted, so I'm just going to do 3/4 and then do a 1/2 cup of regular sugar. And then we're going to turn this way down so we don't get popped by this. I'm going to give that a quick stir in here just to get those sugars mixed in. Just that brown sugar's making it turn a nice color right there. And then now we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our spices. We're going to start out with some ginger, or excuse me, we're going to start out with some cinnamon. We're going to do a full teaspoon of cinnamon. And mine is almost gone, so get a little bit more there. Our cloves, we're going to do 1/2 of that, because remember, cloves is a strong spice, but you'll know that in apple butter, that's one of the big spices on there. So 1/2 teaspoon of that. Same. We've got our allspice. We're going to do about 1/4 teaspoon of allspice. That's got a nice earthy, rich, deep flavor there. And then we're going to do the same thing with the nutmeg, about 1/4 teaspoon. And then we're just going to stir those up. We're just going to let this cook down. I'm going to turn that heat back up a little bit now that we're going to be able to walk away from it. And we're just going to let it cook down. As you can see, I put a lid on mine here because it was starting to splash and bubble. Because it's a rich, thick, it will pop out of the pot. So to prevent from making a big mess and everything, you can put a lid over it. There's a big chunk of apple that didn't get cleaned up. We'll put that here. But you want to make sure that you still leave it vented a little bit. And what I mean by that is just leaving it like this. I'm keeping mine towards the wall rather than the floor. But just so it's not covered all the way, because you want that excess moisture to cook its way out of there. Okay, it's been about 30 minutes now. So we're going to go ahead and look at this. Oh, I think that is perfect. This has thickened up nicely. Look at that. Nice and rich and thick. We're going to turn this off. It's splattering everywhere right now because it's so hot, but oh my goodness. Does that not look absolutely fantastic? Yeah, that's going to set up perfectly. So we're going to let this cool before we can put it into jars. Well, it's that time. We have gone and this is cooled off here. Look how thick this got after we let it cool some more. That is just the perfect consistency for an apple butter. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to jar this up, and I'm going to share some with some of my friends here in the campground, and then keep a little bit for ourselves as well. Now this does freeze very nicely. It also stays fresh in the refrigerator for about a month. So you've got plenty of time to be able to eat your apple butter. Now you can adjust the ratios of the ingredients and everything to make as little or as much as you want of the apple butter. And even if you wanted to make it even simpler on yourself, you could even start, well, I just made a big mess. You could even start by using applesauce instead of cooking your own apples down. But cooking your apples down just makes it even more special. I've got enough here left for myself, plus enough to share with a couple of friends. So we're going to just jar this up here. We'll put that over here in the water. Put our lid on. And this is going to make a nice little surprise for our friends. Just fantastic. If you wanted to make it close to Thanksgiving, take it to your Thanksgiving meal with your family or something, you could do that. Now this is not shelf stable. This does have to be kept in the refrigerator or something. It is not meant for canning. So you have to look up instructions on that. I am not a canner. My mama was, but I'm not. So I'm going to actually put some of this on a piece of toast that I made for myself because I'm just a little excited to give it a try on the toast here. Not going to do any butter with it. I had that apple crisp. If you haven't seen that video, check that one out. But I had that apple crisp earlier today. Look at that. It just stays right on there. You can't ask for anything better than that. You know what else that would be really good in? Is a hand pie. If you wanted to make yourself a little bit of pie crust or buy some store-bought pie crust, put some down inside there with that clove, the warmth of the clove and the cinnamon and the nutmeg would be fantastic in a little hand pie. Great on biscuits, great on toast. Put it on your oatmeal in the morning. Just be sure to make it. If you like this video, please give it a like, give it a thumbs up, a like, a subscribe so that you know whenever we do put out more videos. Ring that little bell. And until next time, bye y'all.